Yeah.
What up, what up? It's the Chief Kaseek Ortiz.
Tyrant333, and this is Figure It the Fuck Out.
Yes, sir.
And today we want to talk about another good topic like we always got for you. We're talking about features. Everything about features. And I know people have different ways of approaching features and going about features with their records. We've seen different trajectories go off with people's careers for hopping on the right features, so we're gonna cover all that. So, breaking into the first part of it, do you think it's okay for artists to charge for features? I'm gonna ask that first question.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely agree that artists could and should charge. I do feel like there's a fine gray line there. It's funny that you asked that, but I definitely think that artists should charge, and if they aren't charging an actual dollar, they're charging in another way. What I mean by the other way is one hand washes the other. Like if Eminem wants to do a record for Lil Wayne might just hop on the record for Eminem.
Because they're both at that level.
Right,
yeah,
at that
so
level,
it makes sense.
It's it makes sense exactly because they're both gonna sell out records. I know I'm using big names and the people that might be watching this aren't on that stature just yet, but if you look at it like that, from that standpoint, it's like, okay, Lil Wayne's gonna sell records, and M's gonna sell records. So it's almost beneficial to just do the feature for free and then just collect money on the back end.
Yeah.
Publishing and royalties.
Yeah, which he knows he will get.
Right.
Especially if you got the right team in order, managers, all those people on the back end, the publishing companies, all that, the paperwork's there, and you've done that type of stuff with each other before.
Right.
You know that type of person, like we always talk about relationships. If you never got burnt by this person, you hear they've done good business, then yeah, you're gonna be probably more apt to do something like that.
Right.
And especially talking about those artists, they know that shit's gonna go platinum. Probably.
For real.
So it
It's
makes
like a
sense for
no-brainer.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. But on the lower level for artists, independence.
Do I think that people
Yeah,
should
now
charge?
let's ask the same question if we ask them for independence.
And this is where some people will kind of teeter, and I'll say this is me. I teeter with it back and forth because majority of the time, let's just say if you are lower level, and I mean like really low, like you just started out doing music, then you really shouldn't be trying to go above and beyond by trying to get a way bigger feature. A lot of artists, what they do is they'll wake up one morning, all of a sudden they claim they're a rapper, and they instantly think because they have $10,000, let me go and grab a such and such feature because they think if I do this feature with whoever, it's gonna blow your song up, and it doesn't necessarily work just like that. It
Not
does
always,
help,
yeah.
right? It does help, but you also want to, like I said, as far as stature-wise, this is what I mean, like the etiquette of stature is that you want to actually be a polished artist. You don't want to sound like shit and get like a way better artist than you on your song. It's just gonna sound like it's their song, and you might be okay with it, but you're searching for instant gratification that won't actually be yours. Like you'll be thinking, oh, the song just did 1 million views, but it didn't do the 1 million views for you. It did the 1 million views for somebody else, or streams, whatever you want to call it. And then you get stuck in this feeling of like, oh shit, I'm the shit when you're really not.
Yeah, and you also gotta go, it always goes back to the relationship. Those artists who do pay like 10K for the feature or whatever, what does it come with? Are you actually gonna get the relationship with that artist who's charging the 10K? If I'm assuming they're charging 10K, they're a bigger artist. If you get the relationship with that, that's cool. Are you gonna get to shoot a video with this artist?
Exactly. Are they gonna promote it?
Are they gonna promote it with you? There's all different little details there.
Are they gonna be a primary artist on it? So when they post on your page, it's also posting on their page. If they are with a record label, you might have paid 10K or whatever amount of dollars spent on getting the feature, but did their record label approve of it? Because an artist could approve of it all day.
Yeah.
It has to get cleared. You could easily be like, yo, I want to do a song with Eminem. I'll just throw out Eminem. You get him on the feature, but his label's like, nah. And then now you can't put out the record. Now you're out $50,000 or.
And I bet that's happened to some artists out there too.
Definitely.
That must be, a little scary or frustrating for some people, definitely.
That's why I say on the local level, is that no matter where you're at, you should still be somewhat realistic with yourself and understand where is it that you are in your career to do a feature with somebody that's either just a little bit under you or a little bit over you. You don't want to just full-fledged do something crazy and then now you're asked out. doing something like that will not only on that local level. When I mean like local, I don't mean people around you, but I mean like local in the music genre scene, where any state could be on this specific side.
Yeah.
It's better to do off records with these, and this is where the money kind of comes into plays, because if you are at this bottom level, you're already kind of a struggling artist, so you don't really have all the money for all the studio time, for the mixing, the mastering. You don't have all the money for the production side of things, because you are just getting your feet wet. You don't really have a lot of skin in the game, which means that you don't really have a lot of relationships. And this is why we always preach about relationships, because if you were to, let's just for example say you are building with a producer and you guys are like this, now you have a communication where that guy might make you beats for a certain amount of price, or he loves you that much and you guys are forming this fucking Voltron character and you guys are going 50-50 on a project. And now he's forking up money to put for promotion and video work, and you're doing the same thing for marketing, etc. At that point, when you actually join arms and lock arms and move forward together, you're actually better off. And sometimes when you do that, it's not so much about, did you pay $5,000 for the beat? No, I paid maybe $50 for the beat, or $150 for the beat, or $300 for the beat, and we're locked in to do XYZ together.
Yeah, and know how to do all that back-end stuff like we've talked about in previous episodes, like the PRO stuff and you know, that back-end metadata and stuff, and make sure it's cleared on your end. You both get together and do that.
Right.
Both figure out a marketing budget, see how y'all can get together, maybe form relationships. Yo, my aunt's a DJ over here, or knows DJs over here. Oh, my family works at the label over here. Oh, my other cousin's an event manager or a venue manager.
Exactly.
See how you can string it together with the resources you have and the network you have, and really make something bigger than you could ever have done by yourself.
As small as this industry is, everything you just said, those resources are like really, it's almost easy to find, but it's an easy way to get scammed. But it's almost hard to find those people that like you was just saying, is that, you know, you could just charge this person XYZ amount of dollars, or you could just actually focus on building the relationship and find out, oh, this person's brother is such and such and they can do this, or this person's an event coordinator, and now you guys can actually work together cohesively to actually put on something, whether it be a show, a tour, a project, you know, something to actually generate revenue. Because at the end of the day, this music, if you're trying to get into music, you have to understand that it is a music business, and if you go into it 100% with your heart, you know what I'm saying, you will get fucked. You're gonna feel real sad, and it's gonna find its way to make you hate this shit. So fall in love with not just the music side, but also really understand the music business side of things. So that way there, when the shit does pop up, you're not really caught off guard, like tainted and feeling like you don't love the craft anymore, because it will do that.
Yeah, and you know, that's about also just being aware about who you do business with in every form.
Yeah.
Who you bring on as your manager, who you do features with, producers, but also on that, going back to what you were saying just a second ago, building with somebody, there's nothing like it. On that level, when you guys can really, like you were saying, lock arms and really start to create something from the scratch and the bottom levels and go all the way to the top.
Yeah, that's,
you know, there's nothing like that.
Right.
And those
it's
same
like
people,
home-cooked food right there.
Yeah, and those same people, you end up seeing them foster such a relationship that they do big music. Like I'm thinking, I'm gonna just give one example here. I'm looking at Shoreline Mafia.
Okay.
Like, you know, they ascended, everyone loves their sound, and then, or even Ray Strummer, you know, loves their sound, and all of a sudden they split. They created such a tight bond together, musically, sonically, together, that it's hard to even hear them apart on a record at that point, you know? Because they built it up from like ground level. Even the same thing, like when they first broke up the Migos and stuff, people were like, what the fuck? It was like, they didn't want to hear them singly on the record. They all came out with their own own single albums. Like, people were like, come on, dog.
Right.
Like, let's give us, you know, bring us the culture again.
Fans, sometimes I'm not sure if the fans do that shit or if it's really just media that likes to play on that energy, because like there should be no reason that an artist can't just venture off and do their own thing. It like makes no sense. Like, oh, I can't listen to you unless you're with such and such. It's almost like a weird detriment. It's kind of like being typecasted as an actor. Like, oh, you played like the dude from
you can never get away from that
Fast
role.
and the Furious, the bald Mexican dude playing the guy that's helping you boost parts for your vehicle. Now every time he's just that Mexican in every single movie he plays in. You can't play any other role but the bad guy, because you're typecast.
Machete?
Yeah,
Like the dude,
right.
that dude. I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
Machete definitely gets stuck in playing that. But even then, even when he plays in like Disney movies, he ends up being some like funny bad character.
Well, even other artists, man, they get offended almost like when you built up that relationship. Look at the whole situation that was going on with Drake right now. Like he skated and built up a large fan base following, had a lot of platinum hits with dudes like Future.
Yeah.
You know, and then all of a sudden it seemed like some weird stuff when he didn't do another album with Future and did it with 21. They all started to started to ruffle some feathers in the industry, and people started to get upset.
Say. You know, you
That's
never know.
Artists
they
being
probably
mad.
were mad cool about it. They were like, yeah, I'm just gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. There was nothing behind it, but then
a couple years later, then all of a sudden all this They Not Like Us shit comes out.
Right.
With Future, kind of leading the way with Metro Boomin, So it's like, was there truth to it? Kind of seems like there was. At the time, it was like, this seems like some, people were just making some shit up.
Right.
But now, a couple years later, fast forward, it seems like, dang, okay, were they mad at each other for hopping on records with each other and shit like that?
Right.
I know Kodak actually hopped out and came out and said, because you did that album with 21, don't drop none of my music with you.
Oh, really?
To Drake.
I'm not even hip.
Yeah. So Kodak really did get mad, but Kodak be on some, he'd be on some shit.
No, I get it. But so I guess it's funny because we were talking about obviously doing the features. I said something about local level. I don't know why. I just want to retouch on that, but I didn't mean it like local level. Like people should be focusing locally. I meant it on an independent level. You actually said independence.
Yeah.
For some reason, local came to my mind, which is a terrible combination to me personally. But as far as independence goes, people could still charge for their features, but even that at that point, I would probably consider not charging for your features and focusing on strictly the relationship. Like me personally, I don't really have a set price for my features. I could throw out a number, but I don't really care about that personally. I actually care more about their actual relationship. So if you come to me with a record that I just love, you made the record for yourself, but then you were like, yo, but I can really hear Kaseek on this. This right here sounds like something he would do. And you actually put that thought process in it, this isn't just a me record, this is a us record. I might actually do it, whether it be for free or for the lower, depending what we're doing. And if we can split it up on the back end.
But also, I stand in, here comes the capitalist part of me. I do believe these artists, independent artists should charge for features.
Yeah.
Especially if you've established a catalog, you put in the time, and you got a little buzz going for yourself.
Right.
If you've done certain things, maybe you've hopped on a bunch of features that were big features, or you've done some big tours or some big shows.
Yeah.
You're not the biggest ever, but something matches. Your fan base that's growing would match with the fan base that they got growing.
Right.
So I would say that makes sense too.
Okay.
If they're only asking for 500, 1,000, 2,000.
Right.
2,000, 5,000, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
Then.
So what do you feel about an artist that might be at, let's just say, mid-tier level, who's actually made some motions, whatever, but there's a bigger artist that actually wants him to get on a song? Should he still charge that bigger artist more money? Or
the bigger artist wants to get on his song. Okay, that's a good question.
It doesn't matter if it's his song or if it's, I'll just use Eminem. Eminem hits me up and is like, yo, I want you to get on my record. Do I charge Eminem or do I let that escape pass so I can actually get
I'm not a fucking idiot, dog. Come on.
I'm just saying, you're saying capitalist.
I get what you're saying.
What if the bigger artist is like, yo, he better charge because if he doesn't charge me, I don't respect him as much? On a business side.
I could see that too. But what are you more willing to risk, I guess? Are you more willing to charge him? I want $5,000. And he's like, get your, nigga, I was going to change your life.
Right.
Or, you know what I mean? You just putting it out there for free. Because on the free, I don't think he's going to, be mad. How mad he's going to get? He said, you want to hop on the record? You're like, yeah, you can hop on it. You don't even charge him.
Right. No, me personally, I would probably do it for free, but I would still negotiate back end. Can I get some type of publishing or can I get royalties?
Yeah, don't screw yourself
I'm
and
not
don't
gonna
screw
just
yourself out of like, you know, the creative process of it.
Right.
All of a sudden now it's his record, you know, like,
Right.
you're off the record completely.
I
like,
laid the vocals, but then he relayed it under his
don't
voice.
play yourself, like, you know, but make it work for yourself. And, you know, if you don't gotta charge them, that's huge for any artist's career.
Yeah.
I would say do it, you know, definitely. Like, but there's other artists out there who are saying, fuck that nigga. Like, I'm gonna charge them 10 bands and run it up.
Right.
Hey, do you, man. If you can get it, get it. Maybe you already have the relationships with the labels or somebody, or you already built your buzz up so high where it's like, yo, I'm getting money. Like, this is my fee, you know? And I can see that too.
The outcome would be a lot bigger if you did it for the lower, in that sense. And that's why like, I agree with the whole charging for the features, but if it makes sense, it's kind of, at least for me, more interesting to just lock arms and move together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, like me and your brother, it's a lot better for me and him to lock arms and move forward together rather than us trying to charge each other for this or that or whatever.
Speaking on y'all, I want to personally see more, I want to see another project from y'all.
Right.
Ben Grizz, Kaseek. I want to see like a couple more projects from y'all.
We don't have a project though. It's really just a bunch of singles.
Yeah, I want to see a project, and I definitely want to see y'all more women features, because that's the wave right now with these women rappers. So definitely hop on those. You know, I don't know who you really even, if you were even looking at any female rappers like that you would want to do something with, but.
Oh, I do. There's some really dope, like, you know, I'm not trying to compare people because I hate, you know, artists trying to compare everybody to another artist, but like some Rhapsody type females where it's like they're spitting some, like they got some bars, like they're like, on some fire shit.
And there's people looking at us right now crazy because there's artists in the game who we've obviously recently even seen that blow up. They didn't have no skin in the game. They just got the right features and just started taking off. Like, you know, Ice Spice and, you know, some other people out there.
Sexy
you know what I mean? Like, just start taking off. Right. But they obviously built some relationships before the studio, outside the studio, however it was done, to get to that point.
But sometimes it's really just
even on a guy level, I remember even seeing Nardo Wick. Like, when he came up right out the game with the heaviest features, like 21, Lil Durk, everyone's on the record. Like, I'm like, you know, people rapping 10 years plus, like, damn, I'm trying to get to that. And they're pissed because, like, somehow he built some relationship, whether he had somebody who knew at the label.
He's nice, though.
But he is nice.
Super nice. So
he is nice.
That right there makes sense. Well, let's talk about the shit that really doesn't make sense. And I'm not trying to shit on these females, or not even just the females, but some of these artists, they're just like, that shit is really not there. But the relationship that is there is probably the management. They probably really locked in with good managers, and then those managers have been already in the game for X amount of years, already rubbing elbows with top names. So when they do get somebody that's just not very polished, it's a little bit easier for them to be like, yo, you know what? I really rock with you. I'm gonna help develop you as an artist. Let's get something together. And then
here, sign this 360 deal. Let's go. Let's get this going.
But I'm gonna make a few calls, and you have to do everything I fucking say.
I own you now.
Yeah, and then you have to do it, and then you're gonna do it, and then you get it. You get the phone call talking about Drake is gonna fly you out, dance with you a little bit, take some photos, do a record with you. You got this over here. You know.
Taylor Swift wants you at the Super Bowl to hang out.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, like that shit really works. And once you get your foot in the door, at that point, that's when it's on you to show that you are also worthy to be at that table. And I don't mean it just like on a music side of things. I mean like on a relationship side of things. Because if you have
the business side,
if you're smart business acclimated, or you have a real good gift of gab and you can actually build relationships and friendships, you'll probably be able to stick around. But if not, then you're, you know, once you get in that, your manager can make all the phone calls for you, but as soon as you get in the room, it's still on you.
You can have all that big platform, all the best industry professionals in the building with you, but you still got to make it execute, make it happen after that. The people got to feel you, you know, and you got to make music that's catchy, string it together, do something different, and at the end of it all, have that business acumen that we talk about at the foundation, everything. But you know,
relationships. That's the biggest thing. I feel like every episode has been turning into just strictly straight off of relationships. The more older I get, the more deeper I go into the industry, or that you go, or that we go together, I realize, yo, these relationships are really everything. So when we're talking about paying for features or people locking in, working together, you know, it really makes sense to you can still charge for the feature. Or you guys, you know, if you guys are both currently working on projects, you guys can be like, yo, I'll hop on your project, you hop on mine, like favor for favor. One hand washes the other. I'll do a music video, you do a music video, we'll push some content and put it all together. That way there, your fan base becomes my fan base and vice versa.
So let's break into that. The sensitive part here, I guess, is when you're doing a feature, so you secured the feature, you did all the relationship building, the file sending.
Okay.
And stuff like that, like the etiquette of actually, you know, what it takes to actually make this happen.
Yes. So, you know, for the most part, a lot of people are just trying to figure it out, pun intended. So when they are figuring things out, whether they're recording themselves or going to somebody at a bigger studio, or their homeboy happens to own a little recording studio, he's just getting into it, somebody needs to learn how to export those files correctly, so that way there, if you, let's just say you want Eminem to do your record, but you don't send him the right files, that money that you sent him doesn't matter. That wire exchange doesn't matter. What matters is that the files came in correctly, and is it usable for the next person to record on. Whether it be Kaseek Ortiz or Ben Grizz, if we do records with you and you didn't come to our studio, which most of the time we'll actually invite you to come to the studio to record the record, but if you decide to do it on your own, somebody needs to know how to send the files. And what you would want to be sending is your vocals. You want your vocals to be sent in either mono or stereo, but most likely it should just be mono. It should be sent in 24-bit wave, 32-bit wave, at the bare minimum 16-bit wave, but that's still kind of squishing it. You don't want to be sending MP3. You don't want to record the vocal, bounce it out, have a mix down, and then send them the mix down thinking that they're supposed to extract your vocals somehow from the beat that's already there and do all that shit. That's how you create some bullshit ass mixtape that nobody's really trying to. Most of the time when features don't get done, it's because of that.
And a lot of people don't even know that piece right there.
Yeah.
So it's good to give that information.
They might not even know what a WAV file is. A WAV file is literally the uncompressed form of the audio file. You know, when you listen to songs on SoundCloud or YouTube, a lot of times the audio quality that you're getting is like basically an MP3, which is like the most squished audio file that you could really have. And YouTube does pretty good with allowing you to add higher quality audio, but at the same time, it still depends on your phone signal or your internet signal. So, you know, when we're working in the studio, we're not relying on hoping that the signal is good enough for it to be good. No, you can just bounce it out in the highest quality form and send that correctly. You could send it through, media file, or WeTransfer, Google Drive, anything, as long as you bounce it out correctly. And go back and listen to it. Make sure that the main vocal is just the main vocal. Make sure the dubs are just the dubs. Make sure the background noises are background noises. Your intro's just the intro. Don't have it all together and then send it to somebody thinking that they can do something with that.
Yeah.
Send it raw. Send it raw too. Don't leave no EQs on the vocals, no reverbs, no delays. Give it the rawest you can. As long as you have a solid recording, you bounce it out correctly and send those files, you'll be able to do business better. And people will take you more seriously.
Yeah.
And I mean that from, you know, like somebody that had to learn that because I had to learn the hard way. But two, I've also dealt with bigger artists and it's like they don't know what they're doing. And that it just blows my mind. Somebody in the room needs to be educated. And if you don't have somebody in the room that's smarter than you, then there's a problem.
Yeah. But that's great info for the artist right there, man.
For sure.
You know, gave it to him raw, but that's how it needs to be said.
Stop fucking up. Shit's annoying.
But that'll make features run a lot smoother. You know, doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Making all those steps, put them in place, rewind this shit, take all those notes down if you need to, and figure out how to get your files sent to artists, because there's gonna be a time where a bigger artist hits you up, and you don't wanna be fumbling around, miss an opportunity because you're not able to even sync files correctly.
Right.
So
and there's so much free information out there, you can figure it out, it's easy.
Yeah, but this is what we're doing here. Figure it the fuck out.
Figure it the fuck out.
The last little piece I wanted to split on, actually that was it, splits.
Oh, splits, okay. Yeah, so what do you want to talk about for splits part?
So for splits, I mean...
I guess what, is a split or?
Yeah, like I guess if an artist is gonna do like some of the back end work, I guess.
Yeah. you should educate yourself in the music business and figuring out the back end work, which is ASCAP, BMI, Sound Exchange, your Nielsen scan, all that stuff. But once you get into owning an instrumental, you also have to understand that majority, whether you buy the beat exclusively or if you're leasing the beat, usually it still says a stipulation in there that the producer still, that they still get a cut of that record, whether it be 25%, 50%. Sometimes they want some points on the master. Master is separate from the royalties that you get when you upload your song to a DistroKid or any DSP for that matter, or any distribution service for that matter. But when you do that back end, you definitely want to get it figured out. And usually if you're doing features, it's always good to legit have a, it's called a split sheet agreement drafted up. You can print it out, you can just leave it on your phone and use DocuSign. If you have an iPhone, you can literally sign it with your iPhone. And if you don't know how to, you can YouTube that shit yourself. But you'll be able to literally put down if I'm doing a record, I can put down my name, my real name, not your artist name, because ever comes time to go to court for any situation, they're not gonna know you as little dumb shit. They're gonna know you as your real name. You know what I'm saying? So you put your real name. If you have a Kaseek Ortiz, so I'll put Jason Ortiz, and if I have Ben Grizz on it, he'll put his official name, and we'll sign off on it. It'll literally state in there how much the percentage we get. We gave the producer 25, I get 25, he gets 25. And then we put 25 to something else to make it a whole 100, whether it be to the manager, the photographer, videographer, whatever you want. Either way, it's good to have that conversation and building that relationship, because let's just say if you are working with a producer who's allowing you to go 50-50, when you do a feature, now it's not like you're splitting your 50% with another person while the producer keeps 50%. Now you got 25 and they got 25. If you guys are splitting it down the middle, now you just figure out what the percentage is. And usually if you have a good distributor, a good distribution system set in place, normally you're able to kind of just put in the name, the email, and it'll do the split for you. So it can kind of take the math out of it for you. But if you're doing features in the studio locked in with somebody, whether it be a producer and or other recording artists for a feature, it's always good to just have the split sheet ready. It's nothing crazy. It literally says, here's a split sheet of this such and such record. You put the name of the record, you put the date, his name, my name, other artist's name. We all sign it. We all just agreed that we're gonna get this split down the middle. And that's it. Figure it the fuck out.
Yo, you just hit him with some boom info.
Facts.
Let's go. That shit fired me up. He was spitting, man. He came ready to go today. And this is Figure It the Fuck Out.